A very good morning, students. In today's tutorial, I'm going to discuss with you the first critical aspect, one of the most important critical aspect of O'Neill's play that we are discussing. The mythical elements in O'Neill's play Desire Under the Elms. Now, here's a collection of various Greek tragedies and Greek mythologies, classical mythologies that have taken place. We often wonder that why a writer, any author for that matter, let us not talk particularly the case of dramatist, many writers for that matter, one way or the other, they try to bring in this mythical element to in their work. So what purpose do you think it solves? Obviously a comparison is made, a parallel is drawn, even a contrast is built up, but then more than that, uh, what purpose the use of these mythical elements solve is first what we are gonna discuss. So, myth and mythical technique. Now, what is a myth? It is a story from mythology. We all know that. And you also would be aware of the fact about the etymology of myth. The word myth, it is a Greek word. The G should have been capital, sorry, which Greek word mythos, right, which means a story that is real or it can be invented. And that it relates to superheroes, deities and gods having larger than life story and existence. The best and the most appropriate example I can give you here is our Lord Ram. He is the epitome of a perfect son, a perfect lover, a perfect husband, a perfect brother. Everything that fits into the Indian society, Indian culture. Okay. So, in literature, myth is used to present a parallelism and a contrast between the past and the present. O'Neill adopted the structure of Greek classical tragedy, to bring out the themes of the play. So, this is what is the main reason why O'Neill adopted this structure, right? He has used the plot, he has used various elements of few classical mythologies, classical tragedies to bring out, the theme of his play, Desire Under the Elms. So there are three important myths that O'Neill has adopted in the play. First is Oedipus Rex by Sophocles. This should have either been capital or double inverted commas, okay? Then Hippolytus by Euripides and Medea. The है ये D नहीं पढ़ेंगे हम इसको. Medea by Euripides. Very interesting. I would suggest you all that you have ample of time and these are certain works, which you must read. चाहे abridged versions पढ़िए but ज़रूर पढ़िए इनको. You will really enjoy them. Obviously I will be dealing them in detail, but हम जब यूरिपिडीज की बात करते हैं या हिपोलाइटस की, there is another counter story which goes back to the Hippolytus story. Okay, so I will not go into that detail, but my focus over here will be on these myths which O'Neill adopted, these classical works. Sophocles, by Sophocles' work, Oedipus Rex. Your fourth semester students must have heard about the Oedipus complex many times, which writers use to present the theme of incest. Right. Now, before I enter into it, what is the story? Oedipus Rex, Greek ka matlab Rex is king, King Oedipus. Okay. So what happens is the story of the work written by Sophocles is just this much, that a prophecy has been made that the king will have a son, right? And this son will kill his father and marry his mother. Okay, and as the child is born, the child is thrown away, right? But the prophecy turns out to be true as various unfortunate events take place, and eventually Oedipus marries Jocasta and becomes the king. Okay, so this play, um, by Sophocles, of course, is a classical representation of the fight of father and son for mother's love and son's rebellion against the father. Eventually, the king Laius is obviously thrown out. He marries his mother, who he Oedipus marries Jocasta and becomes the king. So a sort of rivalry is there, of course, but at the same time, the important aspect that comes out from this particular myth is the theme of incest, which O'Neill has very well used. And remember one thing, that there is another angle which may be questioned to you, that it when you study Oedipus complex at a psychological level. So there may be another way of asking this question related to Oedipus Rex. Okay. Now, through the use of this classical myth of Oedipus, O'Neill deals with the Greek elements of incest and Oedipal complex. Ibn Cabot has problems linked with Oedipus complex in his life. Now he has three maternal figures. And who are they? His mother, Mo, right? Abby, his stepmother, and Min, the prostitute. Now, before I go ahead, remember the triangle, please, right? Son, mother, father, right? Now, over here, coming back to this aspect, what we have in front of our screens, that these three maternal figures, out of them, the most important is, I would say, Min to begin with, right? Because obviously she has not much role to play as the events unroll, but she is used by O'Neill, her character, through the presence, I would say that would be more appropriate, through her character, the readers, the relationship which Min and Eben share, the readers are able to understand the conflict that goes in the mind of Eben. That is what I'm trying to say. His inner conflicts, his struggle. Now, how that is there? You know, every time Eben feels like spending time with a woman. Hmm? Every time he misses his mom, his mother more, he goes to the prostitute, he goes to men, right? And she kind of comfort him at various levels by satisfying his inner conflicts, in the sense that Min was first loved by Ephraim Cabot, his father, then his brothers. And now he says there is a quote which says that she may have been yours and father's, but now she is mine. So the parallel can very well be developed. Whatever the father is owning, Eben has made an effort to take it. Now, Min's role, to satisfy him or to give him that presence of mother and even sexual desire, remains till Abby comes. Now, Abby, when we have to think of Oedipal complex in connection with Abby, it is very easy to develop the parallel or the contrast over here. Is that um, through Abby also, Eben has been able to Obviously incest theme is there, but at the same time he is trying to take revenge from his father in that manners, because obviously she's his stepmom, but then he is kind of have developed incestual relationship with her. That is what I would say. Okay. Now, his Oedipus complex, it derives from the unconscious rivalry. These are the three reasons from through which, or these are the three ways from which he is trying to satisfy his rivalry with his father. Okay. And what happens is his love, a rivalry with his father for the love of his mother, and it is enlarged by the coming of his stepmother Abby, right? Both these people, if we say Eben and Ephraim, they both, they influence the inner conflicts which are presented by the hostile treatment of the father. Now, not just these, whether we talk of owning the farm, whether we talk of treatment of Ephraim towards the mother, even to Abby, and then towards Min. Every way or the other, there is incestual theme that is being set up, and at the same time, there is the theme of revenge somehow that is being, or not, let us not say revenge over here, let us say the rebellion that exists between the father and son relationship. Okay. One more thing, when we talk of Oedipal Rex at the psychological level, जब हम Oedipus Rex story को छोड़ के, वर्क को छोड़ के हम Oedipus complex की बात करते हैं, then what happens in connection with, in relation to Eben? His um, these this maternal figure, his mother, she doesn't his love for this, or what should I say, the complex that he has, the Oedipal complex that he faces, that he suffer from, his inner conflicts, his outer conflicts, they do not give him a chance to develop a relationship with his father. So okay, so in this connection also, Oedipus complex has been, or Oedipus Rex, the play, has been contrasted and parallelized by O'Neill. I hope I'm able to make the point and you will be able to develop the connection between the two plays. So, next classical work that has been used by O'Neill, that is Hippolytus, the unfaithful son. Now, I will not go with the unfaithful son, but what I want to focus on is the story, of course. There is this King Theseus, right? And he marries a woman who's again younger to him, and obviously she comes as Phaedra is her name, and she comes as a stepmother of Hippolytus, right? And she falls in love with her stepson. She makes advances towards him, but Hippolytus keeps her at bay. He makes a distance from him. Angered out of this reaction, she blames him for raping her. She tells Theseus that her husband, that your son has raped me. Okay? Sequence of events takes such a turn that Theseus, he curses Hippolytus, and eventually, with the passage of time, Hippolytus dies. Right? Now, there is the sequence of Hippolytus, Phaedra, and Theseus. Now, let us see the connection. Hippolytus, in our Desire Under the Elms, is nobody but Eben Cabot. Then Phaedra is represented by Abby, and Theseus, the father, is Ephraim Cabot. I think now, as I have given you the parallels, you would be in a position to, establish the relationships. When Ephraim comes with Abby, Eben doesn't like it. Why? Because Abby is number one, a threat to his desire. Desire of what? The farm, obviously, right? And of course a threat because she has come as a stepmother, and she would obviously try to make an attempt to replace his mother, which he would never allow. So two things which we have to keep in mind over here when we talk of this sequence paralleling the sequence of desire under the elms is: number one, the stepsons. Stepsons. These are the two stepsons. They consider the stepmothers as a threat to their property. Okay. And eventually, the stepmothers fall in love with their stepsons. Okay. Over here we can say the contrast is different because with the passage of time Eben realizes that Abby's love for him comes out to be true. Here the story is something different, right? And out of when we talk of Theseus cursing Hippolytus and Hippolytus dying over here, the only connection which O'Neill is trying to build here is that, through these accounts, what he's trying to do, he's trying to present the Cabot family in a similar manner, how the things unfolded in the play Hippolytus by Euripides. Okay, somehow the other, a rebellion, a hatred, a revenge has been developed in the hearts of the father and the son by the presence of these stepmothers. Okay, so the next one, I hope I've been able to make a connection when it comes to Phaedra, Hippolytus, Theseus, and Phaedra, Abby, Eben, Hippolytus, and Ephraim, Theseus, right? These are the only two little complicated connections, contrasts, parallels which O'Neill has developed. This one, the last one, media, is quite simple, I would say. You will not find difficulty to correlate the things. Now, media as a classic actor is infamous. Wherever you will read about her, you will find the word infamous. Why she was infamous? Because of the crime that she committed by murdering her children to take revenge upon her husband Jason, who left her for another woman. इनजस्टिस तो उसके साथ भी हुई, मीडिया के साथ भी हुई, but then she has made an attempt to revenge on whom? On her own husband who has cheated her. And she had a choice. She would have not killed the children, but she kills them. And a parallel which we can, uh, you know, find in Desire Under the Elms is similar to the infanticide which is committed by whom? It is committed by Abby Putnam, right? So she kills her son, who otherwise would have given him the farm. But eventually, how the events have taken a turn, because Abby has fallen in love with Eben. Okay, so for her, the child was not more important. What was important is to make a pure, a true show of her love by killing their baby. Okay, she commits infanticide. So through media's story, O'Neill has heightened the theme of revenge in Desire Under the Elms, right? And before I come to this, what we have to keep in mind when I started, I told you that, yeah, O'Neill adopted the structure of Greek classical tragedies to bring out the themes of the play. Now we will keep in mind, or now I would say we can conclude that uh, two important themes that set out to come that we can conclude on are the theme of incest and the theme of revenge, to which to come to them, or let me put it the other way around. The O'Neill uses the structure of Greek tragedies, to bring about the theme of incest and the theme of revenge. Right? That would make it more clear. So O'Neill evokes the Greek myths portrayed in Phaedra, हिप्पोलाइटस होना चाहिए था यहाँ पे, मेडिया एंड इडिपस द किंग, एंड अडेप्ट्स, देखो अडॉप्ट्स एंड अडेप्ट्स में फर्क होता है, एंड आई होप यू ऑल नो दैट, एंड अडेप्ट्स देम टू एन अमेरिकन mythical setting. Another conclusion that we would make over here is that we may say that there is more of a parallel which we can draw, and at the same time there are various aspects where we see a contrast that has been built by O'Neill, and that is what you have to work out after listening to this. I want you all to make your notes, because unless and until you won't write, the things won't settle in your mind. Don't mug up from the books, don't mug up from online uh, uh, data, whichever whatever is available to you, but try to understand and try to connect at your own level. When we talk of Oedipus, the triangle between father, mother and son, when we talk of Phaedra, Hippolytus, and Theseus, we talk of Eben, we talk of Abby, and we talk of Ephraim. How the that triangle settles in, how the revenge has been taken, how the theme of incest sets in, how the theme of rebellion against the father, son rebelling against the father, has been used in um, Desire Under the Arms. And lastly, media is very simple, which I think you all will be in a position to connect. Okay, so make your notes, work on it. This is something very, very interesting. And with this, I would conclude, I would end my lecture. And in case of any doubts, of course, you're most welcome. That is all. I hope you enjoyed it. Try to build connections, please. For that, you have to read, you have to write. आप लोग लिखने के शौकीन नहीं हैं. मैंने आप लोगों की assignments देखी हैं. I'm not very happy with it. Uh, when you just can't copy directly from somewhere, you have to mold things in your own language. A person who is correcting your scripts, he will get to know that you have learned these lines from, it may be lines of a critic, it may be lines from Ramji Lal or any source on the internet. Okay, so please don't do that. Learn to modulate things, learn to modify things, and inculcate them in your answers. Okay, that's all. Thank you so much.